I'm Levi, and you're watching The Thinking Shooter. Hey guys, welcome to The Thinking Shooter. So, we got a pretty interesting topic this evening that I think is very important, and I think we talk about this pretty early on in the relative infancy of the channel here to kind of set some groundworks. But before we get into that, I'd like to give everyone an opportunity to guess what I'm drinking this evening. It is a adult beverage. I'll give you that hint. If you correctly guess it, I will give you a shout out in the next video and 10 points to Gryffindor. So, yeah. All right. So let's get into this. This is a very important topic. This is probably, and if you see me looking over here, I'm looking at my other screen because I've got notes and stuff pulled up to help me stay in order and not get off track too much. So we'll hopefully keep this a little bit shorter. So the topic for this evening is the thinking shooter mindset. And this goes into anything you decide to do that requires you to defend yourself. This is a very important element that you understand about yourself, is your mindset, and can you improve it or change it if you need to. So let's get into this. So the first thing is I really want you to reflect on this question and think about it. Why do you choose to be armed? Why do you choose to carry? Why do you choose to have a gun for protecting your home or your person or whatever it is? Why do you choose to be armed? And I'm not saying that as a, oh, how dare you be armed? I'm saying that as a, I want you to truly think about this, because this is a very important thing that you understand. Because this is the motivation behind everything you do when you are armed. Do you choose to be armed for self-protection because you grew up that way, because you have a background like law enforcement, military, whatever? Are you a fairly new firearms owner? And some of the recent events have kind of made you think that, oh, maybe I should be armed. Are you doing it because you feel you need to protect your family, your home, whatever it is? You need to think about that and reflect on it, because that's going to help you with your mindset and understanding its importance and your limitations. So, one thing I want to point out with this is the thinking shooter mindset, or the warrior mindset, or the fighter's mindset, or whatever. It comes down to, you need to understand that it should only be used for defensive reasons. And this doesn't mean solely defense, but defensive in nature. And to give a perfect example of that, you remember, it was a couple years ago, that shooting in that little town south of San Antonio, Texas, where there was a shooter that decided to go shoot up a church, and Mr. Stephen Williford stepped out intervened and neutralized the situation, right? Now, what he did was defensive by nature, but it was an offensive means of defensive. His life at that very moment was not in immediate danger because it was at the church. He intervened on behalf of those that were getting shot and was willing to step up and do that. So that was not a direct defense, which is why I said it's not solely defense. It's not like, oh, I can't do anything until I have a gun pointed at my head. But it was still defensive by nature. And this is also something is you need to be familiar with your state and local laws. So that's what I'm getting at with that. The next thing is as a gun owner, you are responsible, or let me rephrase this. You have the responsibility to be responsibly armed. And what I mean by that is you need to get training. If you are a gun owner and you plan on, or even if you don't plan on it, but you have guns, you should feel a moral obligation to better yourself and get training. And again, this kind of goes with what I open the channel up with about what the channel's about, is we're going to provide info and stuff to help, but it is all supplementary. It is not a means of replacing. Nothing on YouTube or the internet is a solid 100% curriculum for firearms training. You need in-person training with in-person trigger time. When I say you have the responsibility to be a responsible gun owner, if you own guns and you are reckless and you refuse to get training, you are doing a disservice to yourself, your community, and all other gun owners in America. And I don't mean that in a negative manner of saying you're a horrible person if you don't get training, but I'm saying if you have actually thought about it, and this is why I brought it back to that original question of why do you do this, then wouldn't you want to have training that will give you an edge, that will give you better abilities and resources to draw upon when you need them, right? On top of that, when you don't get training and you just start doing random stuff with guns thinking you're protecting, you put other people's lives at risk. I'm not advocating for a mandatory training for gun owners, but I do think if you are a gun owner, you should take it upon yourself to get that training. You should always seek out training. You should always be pushing to get better. And I understand not everyone has that drive to be super operator, and that's fine. You don't have to do that. But you need to at least get enough training that you're comfortable and competent, as well as confident in your abilities and what you can do. And you need to practice it continuously. It's not something that you can go out to the range once a year and be like, okay, I can still hit a 2 foot by 4 foot piece of cardboard. You need better training. You need to constantly progress in your training. And when you are looking for information, do your research on who you're getting your info from. Always seek out knowledgeable individuals. If you find me a knowledgeable individual, ask away. I will answer to the best of my abilities, but I will also tell you if I don't know. But I will also try to refer you to someone who I feel does. But if you think I'm a hack, then don't ask me. Ask someone who you trust and think is But I do recommend maybe doing a little bit of research, maybe a little bit of background, look at what other things they have, and test their knowledge to see if they truly do know what they're talking about. That's just a little thing that I think is kind of important is, make sure the information you're getting is correct and from people who actually know what they're talking about. So don't look for gun information from like CNN. When in doubt, seek it out. Right, I'm talking about information in particular. Right, so this oftentimes comes up with laws. So believe it or not, there's these things called laws that govern firearms, the ownership of them, the usage, the technical legal crap that what you can and can't have on your gun in some states, and defense. If you're using it for self-defense or personal protection or whatever, there are laws that govern that. There are some states where you have a duty to retreat. There are some states where you have a stand your ground. There's some that if someone knocks on your door and you don't like them, you can shoot them. I don't know if that's actually a thing. I don't know all the state laws. Be familiar with your state laws. Seek the information out, research it. It's all available online. If you don't have a computer and you can't access it, I don't know how you're watching this video, but I'm sure you can find it somehow. There's attorneys in pretty much every state that's either specialize in or are extremely familiar with their state's laws on self-defense. Call one of them up. If something's confusing, ask one of them. You need to know your laws, as well as if you're going through or going to be spending any extended time in another state. You need to be at least somewhat familiar with those states' laws, right? And that also comes down to not just the laws and everything, but the weapons themselves, like firearms themselves. Like if you're a new owner or you're relatively new, you've got like one or two or none, uh, and you want to get another gun, but you don't know what to get. Or if you want to get a holster or a flashlight or whatever it is, you know, look for that information. If you know, ask. There's forums online. Hell, there's things on Facebook where you could go and find them and be like, hey, I'm, so and so, I'm looking for info on a new holster. What should I get? And then you're going to get bombarded with, 500 different people who are like, oh, you need this, you need to carry appendix, or you need to carry small back, or you need to carry off your hip, or inside the waistband, or outside the waistband, or you need a pink holster, or, whatever. Take all of it with a grain of salt. But it is still feedback and information. It's other people's input from their experience. Some of them are a whole bunch of I'm really trying to keep this PG and not use profanity too much. But a lot of them are trolls, I guess, is a word that I could use. That they just like to drop in and post random crap that is criticizing just to start a conversation or start an argument, I guess. Don't pay attention to them. They're dumb. If you don't know, ask. All right, it's fine. There's all kinds of knowledgeable people. They're more than willing to help you out. But it goes back to that mindset of I need to be educated in this. If it's something that I'm going to do, then I need to know. So to close this out, we're gonna turn to a rather how do I put this? We're gonna close this out on a rather somber note, but it's an extremely important and very serious note. When you choose to be armed, this is probably one of the most important parts of your mindset. And this is again why I opened with why do you choose to be armed? When you choose to be armed, you are taking a responsibility into your own hands that is very serious. So I'm going to close this out with, are you prepared to take a life? I know we got kind of, you know, but this is something you seriously need to think about and consider. Are you prepared to take a life? If you are, or if you're not sure, because to be honest, until you're put in that situation, you are not going to 100% know if you are ready to take a life or not. But this is one of those things where you need to give it some thought. And at what cost are you willing to take a life? And again, this is something that you really need to think about. And this is a double-edged sword here. The other edge of that sword, are you willing to die? And again, I know this is a very serious topic, and we kind of joked a little bit up to this point, but are you prepared to die? Because if you pick up an arm, if you're prepared to take a life, then you need to be prepared to die at the same time, because you never know what's going to happen, for one. For two, you need to decide at what costs. Are you willing to make that decision? If someone comes up and decides they're going to rob you and they want to take your wallet, right? Is that the fight that you want to either kill or die in, over $20 in your wallet and some credit cards that you can cancel and get new ones? Is it the only picture of grandma that you got? And you really need to think about this, because there's too many people out there that like to pretend Hollywood and John Wick and whatnot. That's Hollywood. That's a movie. This is real life. You need to decide at what cost. If you live near a school and a school starts getting shot up, are you willing to accept the risk that you may have to kill, or you may die in the process trying to save other people? If so, awesome. Good on you. If not, that's perfectly fine. That's not your fight. You don't have to. You need to at least call the cops or something. But at what point are you willing to either take a life or to possibly die? And hopefully you can at least attest to your personal self-defense. But what about the lives of your family, right? If someone's trying to do harm to a loved one, whether it be they're threatening to kill them, or threatening to rape, or do anything, right? Are you willing to kill for them, or are you willing to die for them? If you come home from work and you see your door kicked in, I mean, it's your house. You can defend it. Are you willing to go in there? I know for me personally, if I come home and I see my door kicked in and my wife and daughter aren't home, I'm going to call the cops. I'll let them deal with it, because it's just stuff. If I come home and I know for a fact my wife and my child are home and I see my door kicked in, I'm not waiting for anybody. I'm going in, because I am willing to kill and I am willing to die for my family. Not just for my self-protection, but for theirs. So this is something that you really seriously need to consider, and really seriously need to think about. I know this is a rather dark ending to this video here, but these are things you need to think about that will help you with your mindset, because this is an extremely important thing to get squared away when you first decide you want to take up arms and you want to be armed, because there is always that potential that you may have to kill or you may die. With that being said, hopefully you can find that answer. That's not for me to answer for you. These are just things that you should consider. I hope this sheds some light on some things. If maybe I touched on some topics you never thought about before, or maybe if you think I'm just being over dramatic, I don't care. It's a very important thing that you need to seriously consider and have an internal conversation with yourself about, is where are you mentally when it comes to your mindset for being armed. Regardless of your decision, whatever it is you do, I hope it makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, then make it make sense. Hey guys, just want to say thank you so much for watching this episode of The Thinking Shooter. If you like the video, like the content, make sure you hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and hit that subscribe button. Please share it with anyone that you think might learn from it or might enjoy it. If there's any feedback that you'd like to give, anything you'd like to see in the future, please leave a comment down below. Even if there's not, please leave a comment anyway, as it helps the algorithm for helping this pop up on the search bar. Until next time, guys, stay tuned for more content.